Welcome to the Geek Easy. Sit back, grab a libation of your choice, and relax, 'cause it's time to do some geek stuff in the Geek Easy. Welcome to the Geek Easy, fellow geeks. Today we will be talking about the graphic novel Wiper, published by Dark Horse Comics, written by John Harris Dunning. I guess the art is by Ricardo Cabral, Cabral. Color art by Brad Simpson, and letters by Jim Campbell. I picked this book up a couple weeks ago because I only had a couple floppies to pick up and I wanted something else to read. It looked interesting. It's Lula Nomi is a wiper, a private detective who guarantees complete discretion. A memory wipe after every job sees to that. When she's hired by the enigmatic robot Clute, she thinks the case is the answer to all her problems. But there's something oddly familiar about Clute, and the more she investigates the disappearance of journalist Orson Clark, the more she suspects that he's somehow connected to her own past. I mean, that concept sounded really interesting. I pick it up, and this is kind of a dystopian future. You had a nuclear war, and I guess most of the stuff on Earth is main population centers in South Africa, and then there's a lot of stuff in orbit, and then like some space stations up in orbit, and then some population centers out in the rest of the solar system. Jeez, why couldn't I think of that word? And, Lula is kind of new at the job. She's still going through qualifications. She's done certain jobs. She doesn't remember how many, but she knows, there's a guy who's kind of in charge of all the stuff, who used to do the job, who knows things. And at one point, someone attacks her, and it's her. It was a test for her to pass to see if she can get her final qualifications. And yes, she is approached by Clute, Klute. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it. Clute or Clute, to hire her for a job of looking for this journalist who was investigating some stuff for her, as a friend of hers. And, she's really low on money, so this robot client is going to pay her like $1 million up front. Okay, hey, works for me. And she has to go up into the space station above in orbit, and then go into really kind of the bad area of town, of the station, and investigate. And it just takes her into these really weird areas, and you get to see the different creatures, different aliens that they have around there. And it started out really interesting, a really fun look into the world. Excuse me. where I started to have a problem with it was the final third, the conclusion, like what would be the final act if it would be in a movie. That part you could sort of see coming from a mile away. You could see who was going to do this, who was going to do this, and then how this was going to happen. And it was just sort of like a lot of these other stories like that, because it's just, it was kind of by the numbers. The initial setup, again, it's the same type of story, but this was an interesting, new type of world that was interesting enough. But the story was the same. And you're like, okay, this person's going to do this is going to do this is going to do this. And it's just, it kind of trailed off at the end and just became, I've read this before. And so the ending was kind of a letdown. And then you do have, there's just, the art is just, I don't want to say basic, but it's not poor, it's not, bad, but it's not, attention getting either. Or it's attention getting in the good way. So combine it with the ending kind of falling apart and the art being not that good, or in my opinion, I'm just gonna have to sit there and give it a 2.75 out of 5. I mean, you could sort of see where things were gonna go, and they only have one extra feature in it, and that is one page of sketch designs. So that's not even any extra stuff on there, which makes it for a plus. So anyway, 2.75 out of 5, and say, if that is the type of things that you enjoy, and the common, by the beat storyline, if that intrigues you, great, get it. But I can't really say that I recommend this too much. But anyway, let me know in the comments below whether or not you read it. Like, subscribe, and most of all, try and enjoy your comics.